Hey guys, it's Slimming Rush. Today we're going to be watching Camilo19 in his Object 268 version 4 Seal Club on Mines. Now, normally I wouldn't feature a game in a 268 version 4 simply because it's a completely broken tank. Currently, the average player, if they get their hands on this tank, will go from a 48% win rate to a 57% win rate in their vehicle. So what that means, like, the average player wins 50% of their game, 57% of their games in this vehicle. So it's blatantly overpowered. Normally I wouldn't feature it, but Camilo here, I think he's got something like a 35 to 4K recent. I looked up his stats. They were like dark purple. So he ended up playing this game really well, and it's basically an overpowered player in an overpowered tank. So I call that tier 10 seal clubbing. Now, what Camilo is going to do, this is really interesting because you can make this type of play in every type of tank in the game. He's just going to be able to do it more effectively because he's in an overpowered tank, is he's going to work on controlling the hill. Now, ultimately, controlling the hill is what's going to give him the power to win this game. First things first, he notices an RHM who drives across the open. The RHM looks, if you watch what he's doing, if you just pay attention to this guy right here, he's going to drive into the bush, and what Camilo is going to do is he notices that, and he's going to put a blind shot into the bush. Now, up until this point, well, just watch this shot. There's no explosion behind that bush right there, and because he's shooting heat, there would be a massive explosion. The Panzerwagen isn't full HP anymore, so you can deduce that he ended up hitting that guy. Now, right here, the T95 appears. The T95 is on that corner, but Camilo decides to push up anyways. The reason he can do this is because the T95 is slow as fuck. If it was like a Super Conqueror, probably not. He ends up getting hit by the IS-3. The IS-3 doesn't pen because the 268 version 4 is balanced. Not even a Russian tank can pen the 268 version 4. But he's able to put a snapshot into the IS-3. If the IS-3 pokes again, he puts another shot into that guy. And now that's his third shot of damage, and the IS-3 is a one shot. So, yeah, Camilo's made his way up to the hill. Now, this is pretty reasonable. Normally, when you play the hill in this map, you're going to end up getting focused down and whatnot, but he decides to take the risk anyway, and that's exactly what's going to pay off. Now, what he decides to do is a bit contentious, in my opinion. He comes to this rock here. That's going to give him shots on a Skoda T50 who's in the middle of nowhere. The Skoda puts 3 shots into this guy. One of them pens because he got lucky and the rest bounces. And the way that Camilo is giving himself the gun depression to shoot at this Skoda, because normally you won't, is by driving up on this thing right here. So that tilts his tank forwards. That gives him enough gun depression to hit the Skoda, and that's why he was able to hit his shot. Now, he's going to camp the Skoda for a bit longer. I'd like to, normally, if you were to look at the map, you would this ends up paying off because he gets a shot in the Skoda. But normally, if you're in a position like this, what you'd want to do is you'd want to actually be shooting at someone who's a threat to your team. This Skoda is being useless right now, so sitting around, in my opinion, camping him is a bit of a waste of time. What he's going to do instead, like what I would think he should do, is I think he should look for shots on the 9890, because to me it looks like he's going to lose that side of the map. Like the 257 is going to end up killing this guy right here, and so on and so forth. So Camilo is sitting in the bush looking for shots in the Skoda. He does it for quite a long time, but in the end, it's a bit of a toss-up. So what he notices is that the T95 is pushing into the hill. Either that, or he eventually gets bored and then notices that the T95 is pushing into hill. This is a really weird play coming from a T95. Like, you would never expect this. The T95 drove past 3 tanks, most of the time tanks who would suppress a T95 and prevent him from doing that, but the T95 has managed to attempt to take the hill, and what Camilo is going to do is he's going to play this really well, in my opinion. He's going to side scrape this the T95 right here, and he's able to put two shots so far into the T95's lower plate. Talk about that shitty .44 accuracy, but because the T95 is looking at him, he's not going to risk losing 750 HP, and because he plays this so well, that's going to allow him to kill the game. He ends up low rolling the one-shot T95 in front of him. Serves him a bit of justice there because he's playing the 268 version 4, and the GW Tiger ends up killing the T95. Now, this is where Camilo is going to make a play that I felt he should have done a while ago. I mentioned that mediums will generally rush the hill. You're going to watch. What's going to happen is he's going to push this Karna out of the way. That's going to allow him to get hull-down shots onto the Object 257, and immediately after he takes his shot, he's going to notice that there's an LTTB behind him. Now, the way he approaches this LTTB is brilliant, in my opinion. What he does is he backs up all the way to a wall so the LTTB can't circle him. Because his tank is so heavy and because it's so fast, he was able to track the LTTB, and then he gets the kill on the LTTB, who is on 527 HP, and now he doesn't really have to worry about getting flanked from the hill. Now, once again, he's going to make a, like, he decides to go for the Type 4 heavy. I would be focusing down the 9 line right now, because what happens is if the enemy pushes through the 9 line, it's like game over, especially when you've got idiot campers in base. He's able to flank this Type 4 heavy who didn't actually notice him. He put a shot right underneath the turret of that guy, probably where his ammo rack is, and now that guy's basically a 2-shot, and so the Type 4 heavy is going to fall back, and that's when Camilo is going to return to look for shots on the 9 line. Now, you'll notice that he still hasn't been clicked. Don't ask me why. I wish I had his luck, but it's the way it is. Normally, I would have been clicked like 7 times by now. It's just the way it is. Right here, Camilo makes a really good play. He decides to shoot at the 257 as opposed to a VK. So he makes there's two decisions right there as to why that shot was good. One, the Object 257 was low HP. So when you're trying to carry, this is a carry type situation. The game is close. He's done a ton of damage, and he's still, like, he's done 6k damage, and the game is still really, really close. So him shooting low HP is a good idea. He also focused down a high tier. So he focused on the tier 9. And that was just a perfect situation. That's how you win games in Clan Wars. It's like you focus fire the highest threat. That's exactly what Camilo did. And so, you know, that was a really good shot by him. Now, what he's going to do is he's going to look for shots on these guys, but he notices the Type 4 heavy who has the capacity to flank him. So what he does, this is certainly the right play, is he goes for shots in this Type 4 because obviously if he's flanked by a Type 4, that's going to be awful. So he drives into this guy. He needs to kill him if he wants to help out with the people who are pushing through, and it's north, that Type 5 and VK. He puts a shot into that guy for 611, and that guy's a one-shot. So the Type 4 is trying to back off. Camilo notices that, and he's going to basically have an opportunity to just ignore that guy and kill the Type 5 and VK. The Jagdtiger, the camping piece of shit, ends up killing the Type 4 so that he doesn't have to worry about that whatsoever. And now he's above these guys. Now this is a challenging situation. I'm surprised that he took this risk with the Type 4 there. I'm amazed that the Type 4 didn't have a shot at him, but he ends up playing this ridge really, really well. Puts a shot into the top of that Type 5 heavy, which obviously is going to pen. It's heat. He's been spamming it all game. And he's going to focus down the VK right here. So in this situation, he ignores the low HP, which is fine. He's got a Jagdtiger supporting him. And you'll notice the situation here. He didn't intend to fall off the cliff, but he did. And the way he's going to make this situation work is because he's in a crossfire. When he dropped down, it was a Type 5 and a VK who had him in a crossfire, is he falls back. This forces both enemies to look at him from the front, and then he was ready to shoot at the Type 5 who was a one-shot. But the T-32 dived off a cliff, killed the Type 5 heavy, and that allows him to deal with the one tank. But if you're ever in a crossfire, that's how you deal with it. You reverse or drive forwards out of the crossfire, and he would have been able to just sort of use the Type 5 heavy for cover as he killed him, and that would have been an amazing play if the T-32 hadn't dived down onto that guy. I thought it was really well played. Now, at this point in time, he's up to about 9,500 damage. He's only got 1,022 HP in a 268 version 4. This is like the first hyper-aggressive play that he makes all game. Now, if you've been watching the minimap, you'll have noticed the 268 version 4 at H1 hasn't been spotted, and the P44 Pantera, like, I would have assumed he probably would have moved by now, but there he is, just sort of standing there. What he's going to do is he's going to drive into these guys, and he decides, again, to make a really good play. He rams the 268 version 4. Now, that makes the 268 version 4 a one-shot for him. He's down to 422 HP, and he's going to aim for the upper front plate on the 268 version 4, which allows him to get the kill. And now he's got this one-shot Pantera, who he made a one-shot by reverse ramming the guy behind him, and then the T-44 is able to pick up the kill. And it's like, that's his 11,000 damage game. What he has to do, like, generally if you're in a situation like this, you don't want to die to the last clicker, but you still want to get more damage to make the game even more epic, is he has to kill Artie. Like, his job is to kill Artie to get more damage to make the game even better. And generally, Artie loves to sit at K8. Now, the way he approaches this is really smart, and I think you should take this into account whenever you're dealing with Artie in this location. So he's driving into them, trying to proxy spot the M53. And what he does, whether or not this is on purpose or not, is he destroys this building. Now, you can do that in your games. And what that does is it gives you shots on the top of the tall Artie, or you could shoot through these windows here to get shots in the Artie. And that's going to allow you to deal with the Artie without really risking dying. So, you know, that's the game. Was it bullshit? Yes, he's in a 268 version 4. Did he play well? I think so. I think he played really perfectly. I think it's worthy of, well, let's go take a look at the end plates. I thought he did well. Despite the fact that he's in a 268 version 4, he was able to deal with the challenges that are associated with playing a completely broken vehicle. And yeah, let's go take a look at the end plates. I'm actually remembering to show the end plates for this one. All right, so Camilo ended up winning. Obviously, he got a mastery badge, a ton of medals that I really don't care about. He ended up getting a Confederate, a steel wall, and a high caliber. How could you not get a high caliber with 11,392 damage? Ended up doing 4 kills, 1419 base, lost 19k credits. That's because he shot pure heat, which is like, a lot of people are gonna not like that, but the reality is it's just as like I don't know how to describe it. It's in the game. It's complete bullshit the way the heat mechanics work in the game right now, but it's like if you have something available to you, you'd be an idiot not to use it. So I'm not going to criticize him for that. He ended up firing 20 shots. He hits 20 of them and penned 19 of them. So 95% pen ratio, or yeah, 95% pens right there. That's pretty much the game. I thought it was well played. I think the fact that it's in a 268 version 4 detracts from the quality of the replay, but regardless, he did everything perfectly, and it's like, it's Wargaming Salt for adding this BS into the game. So how much damage did he block? Let's find out. 3,680. There's games of this thing blocking like 8k damage, and the player is just like sitting in the middle of the open. It's like those epic T95 replays, except this guy doesn't even have to try. So, yeah. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more, be sure to hit the like and the subscribe button, and I hope to see you around. Later, guys. Bye-bye.